okay, I'll be really honest, and I don't talk about this stuff very often, but doing live TV or live radio, which I spent my whole life doing since the age of 15, and doing without thought, without nerves, just there. But I went through some pretty horrendous stuff that caused a deep period of depression. And then weirdly, it was about 3 years after that the panic came in. It was almost like this sort of hangover. And now to step into an environment like that, where something could go wrong because there's so many variables and you're live, and the potential judgment, I've had to stop doing all of it, because the night before, it's not like I just won't sleep and I get insomnia, because I've had insomnia and you just lie there and you're like, come on, go to sleep.
The worst.
This is, my heart's racing, I can't breathe, I'm literally jumping out of my own skin for like 8 hours and not sleeping. And
I can help you.
I can't do that. I can't do that anymore. But I wonder.
I can help you.
But Mel, is there any part of you, because this is my own belief now, maybe I'm just not meant to be doing that. Maybe I'm just not meant to be putting myself in that situation where I could be up for that judgment or something could go wrong. I'm wondering if it's trying to stop me from going down one path and leading me to another.
I think it's a great reframe. So if you feel like that's part of an old chapter, and this sort of like wave is life hitting you with a sledgehammer to go, Fearne, I don't give a shit what you want. Do not go in that direction, Fearne. Because again, it's an alarm system. But I personally believe that you are on such a massive mission to make a difference with people, that you are meant to break through this wall of panic that comes up that's stopping you, so that you are free to do live TV or radio when it suits you. And so that you can explain to people how you got through this wall. And I'm going to teach you how to do it right now. Are you ready?
Yeah, because honestly, I haven't done any of that stuff. And when I say, like, I literally did live radio every day to millions of people, interviewing Eminem, Beyonce, whoever, like, fine, unfazed. But due to very specific trauma, like, I would get called up and say, oh, you need to do this thing, it's live on the radio tomorrow, and I would start physically shaking. And this is going from one person to now being a completely different person.
Gotcha. Okay. So first of all, let me ask a specific question, because I don't know if there was some big media thing that blew up, but did you say something on a hot mic that like had a huge backlash?
No, this is just lots of complicated stuff that I actually don't talk about publicly, because I'm still at times in the eye of the storm trying to figure a lot of it out and find peace in a lot of it.
Okay, great. I respect that.
Yeah.
So I wanted to know if it was a specific incident, because I would add something in.
And I've definitely said stupid shit like everyone has on the radio, but nothing that's been traumatic.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. So I happen to be, I believe, one of the world's leading experts on anxiety, because I have struggled with it for so fucking long. And because I've had severe postpartum depression with our first child, because when I said I had taken Zoloft for 2.5 decades, the only time I came off of it was when our first daughter was born. And I had such profound depression and cascading panic attacks, completely disassociated for the first 2 weeks she was born. It was so bad, Fearne, I couldn't be left alone with her. They had to put me on Ativan, which basically turned me into a zombie. And to this day, I believe that one of the reasons why my husband, Christopher Robbins, that is his name, it's crazy, I know. He, who by the way, went to the American school in London. That's where he went to high school. Yep. So he's such a phenomenal dad and such an amazing caretaker, particularly with our daughters, because I was drugged up for 8 weeks while he had to literally be mom and dad. So I get this because I've lived it. We have a couple kids who have had profound struggles with anxiety. And so I've had to figure out how to explain it. So first of all, there's a couple things. When you have this much panic, it's now like a learned nervous system response that hijacks you.
I feel panicky talking about it with you. Like I can fit, it's there. It's fucking there.
Okay. So first of all, what if it all works out?
Mm.
What if instead of this conversation being something that's triggering, what if it all works out and this conversation is one of the greatest gifts of your life?
I would love that.
So that's the first thing that I want to tell you. What if it all works out? So that's the first sort of default. So when you start to have your mind or your body hijack you, use my 5-second rule, count backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to yourself, just in your mind, and then go, what if it all works out? I was just using this at 4:00 in the morning. We have a daughter going to college in LA, and she's a junior, and she's going through that horrible period where your friend groups are changing, and she feels like she has no friends, and she feels like, what if this and what if that and what if the other thing? She called me at 4:00 in the morning, which of course, this is going to be more therapy for her because I pick up the phone. I'm like, Kendall, you okay? And she's like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm just really nervous. I'm like, what the fuck are you calling me at 4:00? And I thought you're dead, like literally. And I'm like, okay, calm down. And I was coaching her, stop the what if loop. What if it all works out? What if life is trying to nudge you in a different direction, which is what you said. So here's the conversation I want to have with you. And for everybody who's never experienced a panic attack, let me just explain that there's a very significant connection between the worries in your mind, the anxiety you feel in your body, and panic. It's sort of like the little bear, the middle bear, and the big bear. So the little bear are the worries. So worries are the what ifs. What if this happens? What if that happens? And worries are always about the future. So your mind starts to go to the future and it starts to spin all of these negative thoughts about what could happen or what things mean. One of the most important things with anxiety is cutting that shit off at its knees. So the second you catch yourself worrying about something in the future, use the 5-second rule, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And if you can't think of a positive thought, just go, I'm not thinking about that. I'm not thinking about that. I'm not thinking about that. Just shut it down. Because what happens is if you don't shut down the worry, then your nervous system gets involved because it's paying attention to what your mind is doing. So your nervous system then's like, wait a minute, Fearne's really nervous about something. I better sound the alarm. So you start to get butterflies. Your armpits start to sweat. Your heart starts to race. You feel dry in your throat. Your hands get clammy. Your face can get very flushed. Those are all signs that your body is going into a state of alarm. Now, if you don't know how to calm your ass down when your anxiety is rising up by either high-fiving your hands on your heart or interrupting 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm not thinking about that, or using a technique I'm about to teach you, Fearne, that is going to change your fucking life. Wait till you hear this. It's bananas. If you don't do that and you stay in an on-edge state and your mind then starts to spin, oh my God, my stomach, oh my God, my armpits, oh my God, like, because now your body state is making you even more anxious.
Yeah.
If you've ever heard your kids then your kid, and if your kid has anxiety, your kid's always like, I feel like I'm going to throw up. I feel like I'm going to throw up. Like they start getting nervous. Why? Because their stomach is now on edge, because their alarm system is going. Okay, then panic happens. Panic attack is the older brother of both of these things. A panic attack is when your mind is so worried and your alarm system in your body has been going on so long that the panic attack is designed to do something. The panic attack is designed to save you. The panic attack overrides all of it and is like, we're getting Fearne's ass out of here.
Yeah.
Because when you have a panic attack, you literally are like, I got to get out of this room. I got to get out of this room. I got to get out of this room.
And I don't feel in control of my mind.
You're not in control of your mind.
Ride those thoughts. Like, I just, and it's almost like, oh, well, you tried doing that and that didn't work. So now you're really screwed. And now you're definitely not going to sleep because they're usually at night. Oh, now you're definitely going to be up till 4 a.m. So good luck tomorrow when you're on the radio. It's that. Yep.
Okay. So typically we have panic attacks in situations a lot. If, going back to like, let's say we're driving down the road. Okay. And you and I are driving, and we'll say that I'm driving since you just started driving, on the freeway, and we're driving and all of a sudden a car swerves and cuts us off. What do you feel in your body as I'm swerving to get control of the car?
Yeah. Panic, fear.
Correct. But as soon as the car pulls away, what happens to your body?
You start to relax.
Correct. Because that's a situation where it makes sense to feel that.
Yeah.
You have panic and anxiety all the time in certain situations. The problem for those of us that struggle with generalized anxiety or panic attacks that start to become very frequent is that they happen at a moment that makes no fucking sense.
Yeah, exactly. It's disproportionate to the thing that's happening.
Correct. So first thing that I'm going to ask you to do, and everybody that's listening, is you're going to go through and I want you to write down all of the moments that can trigger you to feel on edge or anxious. And you're going to unpack a lot here because it might be connected to past trauma. Like a lot of people don't know why they feel anxious at 5 or 6 o'clock at night. Well, the reason why you do is because a lot of people grew up in chaotic or abusive households. And that's when mom or dad came home. That's when the shit hit the fan. So even as an adult, even though you're safe, you start to feel on edge at 5 or 6 and you can't quite explain why. It's because your body remembers being a kid in that situation. So I want you to go first and write down all the things that sort of set you on edge. It could be a smell. It could be a sight. It could be a sound. It could be a time of day. It could be a certain thing you have to do. It could be a person. And then what we're going to do is the reason why it's important to write it down ahead of time is because a lot of times it hijacks you because you don't see it coming. But if you do see it coming, you can now create tools to get in front of it so that your nervous system response doesn't take you into DEFCON 10. So with you and panic attacks, and I'm going to talk about the fear of being on live TV or radio, because I want you to be able to do that. You have a gift to give to the world. And it's not in hosting, somebody else's show. It's in being able to go on live TV and do whatever projects you want to do. And especially now that you are doing this incredible podcast that is helping millions and millions of people's lives, there are more platforms for you to be able to go do this.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to teach you the 5-second rule and how to marry it with new research from Harvard Medical School about performance anxiety. And the first thing I have to tell you is that there is no difference in your body between a state of feeling excited to do something and a state of feeling nervous and anxious about doing it. Physiologically, it is the exact same experience. When you are excited, like let's take your favorite, who would be your favorite person to go see perform live right now?
Let's say Foo Fighters, who I love.
Okay, Foo Fighters, great. So let's say you've got front row seat. Let's assume it's COVID safe. Nobody's going to get sick. You are in the front row. They are about to come out. You are so excited. You're with your best mates. It's going to be amazing. What do you feel in your body in that moment, knowing they're about to come out and stand before you and play your favorite song?
So much excitement tinged with a pure love for Dave Grohl.
Okay, great. What happens is you probably have butterflies. Your stomach's like flipping around. Your armpits are now sweating. Your heart's racing. You kind of feel a little thirsty. Your hands are like really clammy. That's excitement. What happens in your body when you think about going and doing live radio?
I mean, I guess there are similarities there. I guess the mental bit takes over from it warps it from feeling like butterflies to feeling like daggers or something, like, oh my God, but it probably is on a, physiological level the same, but my head's going, this is terrible. Yeah.
It's exactly the same. Those butterflies when you're excitement are daggers and I'm going to puke when you're nervous.
Yeah.
The armpit sweating when you're excited is they're about to come out. When you're nervous or anxious, it's everything's about to fuck up.
Yeah.
Heart racing, this is amazing. When you're excited, heart racing is
I'm going to die. That's what
I'm going to die.
Yes.
So the only difference based on research between a moment where you're panicking and anxious and a moment where you're excited is what your brain is saying about what's happening in your body.
Yeah.
And so you can get control of this and change this by taking control of your thoughts. And I'm going to teach you how to do it using science. This is so crazy because look, my whole career, I became the most booked female speaker in the world. If you watch my TEDx talk, Fearne, that is the first time I had ever given a speech on a stage.
Wow.
That was the first TEDx conference. So there was like really no training. They kind of ran through your speech with you for a minute, and then you got 20 minutes. That was not supposed to be a speech about the 5-second rule. That was a speech about career change. I hadn't told anybody about the 5-second rule because I thought it was so stupid and I didn't know the science behind it. And so I get out on that stage. About a minute into my TEDx talk, if you look closely, I have got a gigantic neck rash the size of a grapefruit. I am having a full-blown panic attack on that stage. At minute 19, Fearne, I forget how to end the fucking thing. I am so disassociated. I forgot what I'm supposed to say.
Yeah.
And so I say, by the way, there's this thing I do. I call it the 5-second rule. The moment you have an instinct to do something, you got to move in 5 seconds or your brain will kill the idea. I say, thank you. I was so out to lunch. I gave my email address out on that stage and I walked off. That was it. That thing now has 27 million views.
Yeah.
So when people started to call me and ask me to speak, it was my worst nightmare. I was having panic attacks backstage. I had to figure out what I'm about to teach you because I was literally having stress diarrhea and dry vomiting and cold sweats. And I couldn't sleep the night before any speech I had to give when I first started doing this. And so I'm here to tell you, you can and you will change your mind and get control of your body, and you will be able to do whatever the fuck you want when you can. And it's so cool. So the high five to your heart, super important to calm you down. But what you're actually going to do is this. You're going to use the 5-second rule as you start to feel yourself go on edge. It could be the night before. It could be backstage. It could be as you're walking onto the set. And you're going to count backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The counting backwards, it will not work if you count up. So you must count backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The reason why you're going to count backwards, Fearne, is because when you count backwards, it requires focus. And that will interrupt all of the what if this, what if that, fuck, what if I fuck up? Oh, I'm having a panic attack. It shuts it up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now your prefrontal cortex is engaged. And now you can insert the research from Harvard Medical School. Since being excited is the exact same thing as being nervous, your brain doesn't know the difference. So you're going to tell your brain you're excited. And you're going to say, I am so excited. I'm so excited to get out there. I'm so excited to get on that mic and explain all of this stuff that's going to save people. I'm so excited because I know of the millions of people that are about to watch this, one person's life is going to be changed. I'm so excited because I'm bigger than my fears and I'm proving it to myself right now. I'm so excited because I know how to do this and I'm excited to be back. Say whatever the hell you want. Just keep saying you're excited. It sounds weird. Now, here's what's going to happen. Your stomach will feel like a little funky. You'll continue to sweat, your heart will continue to race, but it won't escalate to panic because you've stopped down your brain from escalating it. It is incredible. It works with kids. It's incredible. It's incredible. Just keep saying, I'm excited. I'm excited. Now I want to explain something else. I want to explain why your body's doing what it's doing when you're excited and when you're nervous. So a state of excitement and a state of nerves, I said it's the exact same thing. It's your body going into an alarm mode. So your body is getting prepared to do something. When you're standing in the front row of the Foo Fighter concert, right? Foo Fighters, I can't even say it. Foo Fighters conference. I can't say it.
Foo Fighters gig.
Thank you. And your body starts to, like your heart races and your stomach gets in knots and you always have to go to the bathroom. Right before, you know how that happens? The band's about to play, you gotta go to the bathroom. Yeah. I can explain why. So this is so crazy. When you are, like way back in the day, 1,000 years ago, when a human being went into a state of being alert, I'm about to go do something, it usually meant running away from some scary animal or going on a hunt, right? You do not need to take a dump or to pee if you're going to be running. And it's going to slow you down if you do. And so what happens when you're about to go do something is all of the blood goes from your stomach, because you don't need to be digesting anything, and it races to your brain and your heart so you can pay attention. The reason why you have, quote, butterflies isn't because you're actually nervous. The reason why you have butterflies is because the blood left your digestive tract to go to your heart and your head so you can pay attention and take the exam or sing along at the top of your lungs or perform on a microphone or take the test or whatever it is. And so the chemistry in your digestive tract just changed. That's why it's gurgling.
Wow.
Your brain is the thing going, oh my God, I have to go to the bathroom. Must be something wrong. Oh my God, I have to do. No, that's just a urge to empty your bowels so you can run faster or so you can concentrate. The butterflies are just the blood going to your brain. You can say that, hey, I'm really excited to go out there. I'm not nervous at all. And I know that the blood is in my brain now. And that's why my stomach feels fucked up.
It's funny because, you know, understanding the science is so important so that we can, it's a leveler, isn't it? Like, okay, I know what's going on. I'm not out of control. I know what's going on. But going back to the sort of start of this conversation, really, you know, 90% of it, maybe more, is habit. It's just habit. Like you associate something with something and it becomes a habit after a few times of it happening. And like we said earlier, being able to break that is so empowering. And although I know that I definitely have the ability and the propensity to switch that up with the self-loathing thing, and I've done it with I've high-fived my heart, I've high-fived myself in the mirror, and I'm going to get back into doing it every single day after talking to you. The panic one is the one that I still need to address, and I'm gonna try this out. I'm gonna try this reframing mentally. I'm gonna count back from 5, and maybe, you know, it will just take, like all of these things, and we don't want this to be the case because it sounds boring, is a bit of discipline to keep trying again, to do something, whether it's daily or in a sequence. Discipline is such a big part of having decent mental health, that you make choices and you continue them if you know that they're working for you. And we don't want that to be the case. It's too boring. We want some magic thing to happen, you know, to do some juice cleanse or whatever, and then everything's amazing. It's discipline.
Yeah. And you know, and that word scares a lot of people. And so I think that you can, I tend to call it simple discipline. Like these are super simple things that seem too good to be true, but they leverage profound and groundbreaking science. And, you know, to your point about the habits, Fearne, you already have habits. You have a habit of beating yourself up, of holding yourself back, of allowing yourself to spin in the what ifs. And what I'm here to say is one decision at a time, whether it's high-fiving yourself in the mirror, or it's interrupting the negative loop of what if and saying, well, what if it all works out? Or if it's high-fiving your heart, or if it is simply seeing somebody in the mirror every morning who is worthy of support and celebration because of what you survived. And because you've dragged yourself out of bed, and because you're still standing here trying to do a little bit better every single day, I'd say that is a human being who is worthy of a high five.
Well, I love it because I get to use it in situations like this, and for the writing that I do. You know, I'm more than comfortable to talk about most of the, you know, the monsters that I have in the cupboard. There are a few that I'm still working with, but I enjoy doing that. I don't feel so vulnerable doing it these days. I do find that exciting. I don't care if people judge me about it or think that I'm weak or whatever. I really couldn't give a toss. I love using that and the situations that I've dealt with to connect with other people. And that's been the beauty of today. Because
can I say one more thing to you? Because you just said, I know you're going to love this. So the other reason why this is so important to develop these habits of encouragement and support and celebration of self is because your relationship with yourself is the most important relationship you have in life, and none of us really work on it. And it's also, by the way, the foundation of every relationship you have. And so here's another reframe. All of those people that are judging you have a habit of doing it because they are so profoundly judgmental of themselves.
Yeah.
If you want to feel more secure, you need to start practicing treating yourself with a sense of security. If you want to feel more validated, you have to practice validating yourself. If you want to be less judgmental, you need to practice being less judgmental of yourself. If you want to be in a loving relationship and accept and know that you're lovable, you got to first learn and practice loving yourself. And through these simple habits and discipline, that's how you can do it.